You've probably bought or sold something significant in your life, right? A house, maybe a car,
Oh, definitely.
or perhaps you found yourself haggling over, I don't know, a cool find at a flea market. You know, the price, that final number, it's obviously important. But how often, really, is it just about that number?
Rarely, I'd say.
Is it ever only about the dollars and cents on the contract? Chances are it's almost never just the money. There are always other things going on, unspoken desires, motivations hiding under the surface.
Absolutely. There's always a human story.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Today we're diving into a really interesting approach called price and exit conditioning.
Yeah.
It's specifically used in high-stakes sales, like manufactured home parks, MHPs.
Right. A very specific niche, but the principles are broad.
Exactly. It's like a masterclass in strategic negotiation, sure, but maybe even more. It's a deep look into understanding seller psychology. We've got this detailed guide in front of us outlining a pretty precise four-step process. It's like a blueprint, really, for engaging sellers, figuring out what really makes them tick, and, ultimately closing a deal that's about more than just the bottom line.
It's a structured way to get beyond the surface level.
So our mission for you, listening in on this deep dive, is to pull out the core insights here. We'll definitely look at how these techniques work in the MHP world. It's fascinating stuff.
It really is.
But what's maybe even more compelling is uncovering those bigger principles, right? Negotiation, motivation, how we perceive value. Stuff you can actually apply.
Yeah, to understand any complex deal, really.
Or even just how you pitch your own ideas or evaluate things day to day.
What's truly compelling about this framework, I think, is how it deliberately shifts the focus. It doesn't just, zero in on the asset, the park itself.
But
instead, it carefully dissects and addresses the human element behind the sale. It's a very intentional way to get past the asking price, to really understand and cater to what an owner truly needs or wants deep down.
it acknowledges there's usually a whole story behind that number on the offer sheet.
Exactly. Motivations, fears,
Aspirations.
aspirations.
So let's jump into step one. And honestly, this might feel a bit backwards at first glance.
A little counterintuitive, yeah.
The guide says right from the start, you assume the owner needs a clear, easy way out, an exit strategy. And this is where it gets really interesting, you anchor low. Now, for a lot of us, making a low-ball offer right away feels like a potential deal killer, doesn't it?
It certainly can feel that way.
So what's the strategic thinking there? How do you stop it from just, shutting the conversation down immediately?
That's a really crucial point because it absolutely sets the stage for everything that follows. The core idea here, as the guide points out, isn't just about the final price tag. It's the entire package. Things like how easy is the transaction? How fast can it close? And critically, the seller's peace of mind. You're not just buying a park. You're essentially selling them a solution.
Ah, okay. So the product isn't the property itself.
Exactly. The product being offered is the professional, no-headache closing process. That framing is key. It often views the owner less as a price seller and more as a retirement seller.
Retirement seller, I like that distinction. So they're looking for liberation, a smooth handover.
Precisely. Less burden they want out of the day-to-day grind.
Okay, retirement seller. That makes sense. But if you're looking for liberation, how does anchoring low actually get them talking? It still feels like a bit of a gamble.
It's definitely a calculated gamble. To get them engaged, the offer anchors low, often framed maybe as a monthly take-home amount that's less than what they're currently earning.
Less? Wow.
Yeah, maybe even structured with seller financing. The guide even suggests asking directly, what is your current monthly take-home from the park?
That's quite direct.
It's subtle, but powerful. The goal isn't necessarily to buy it cheap right then and there. It's to present this passive, no-effort income stream as a compelling, stress-free alternative to their current active management.
Ah, I see. You're offering freedom even if the initial number isn't their dream number.
Exactly. You're sparking that comparison in their head. My current effort versus this easy passive income.
That completely reframes the discussion, doesn't it? Not just about the asset price. And I can see how that low anchor, while maybe a bit jarring at first, sets a psychological baseline.
Right.
Anything you offer above that feels like a gain, like a win for them.
Precisely.
And this isn't just for huge MHP deals, is it? I mean, you could think about anchoring low in a salary negotiation,
Yeah.
maybe for a job you really want, but signaling flexibility.
Or how a car dealership shows you the base model first.
Right. Before they show you the fully loaded version, it's all about managing perception.
It is. By setting that lower point, any increase feels like progress. And it speaks directly to that retirement seller persona, focusing on getting free from the daily grind, the ease of it all.
You're planting that seed of a future with less work, less stress.
Which, for many people, is worth a lot more than just squeezing out the absolute last dollar, especially if that dollar comes with continued headaches.
Okay, so you've set the low anchor. You've painted this picture of a hassle-free exit. As you'd expect, the seller probably pushes back. No way, not for that.
Almost inevitably, yes.
This is where the process gets, well, quite clever, I think. It calls for isolating their vision and then laddering up. So when the owner pushes back on that low offer, the strategy isn't to immediately ask, okay, what's your number then?
Correct. That can put them on the defensive.
So if you're not asking for their price, what do you ask to bridge that gap?
This is where it really shifts. It moves away from being adversarial, like my price versus your price. It becomes more collaborative, like solving a puzzle together. Instead of what's your price, the tactic is to ask something like, okay, I understand. How far off am I? Are we talking $10,000, $20,000, maybe $100,000?
Oh, yeah, interesting. You give them ranges.
Exactly. It's brilliant because it nudges the seller to articulate the difference between your offer and what they have in mind. They have to define the gap for you.
They're not just saying no, they're helping you understand the size of the no.
Precisely. And maybe even why it's a no. What's the specific magnitude of their concern?
That's a crucial difference, getting them to define the gap. You're not just getting a number, you're getting insight into maybe their specific needs or where they see the value difference.
Right. It turns this vague disagreement into a concrete problem you can actually work on together.
Okay, that makes sense.
So once that gap is defined, the next step is to ladder up. You start addressing their specific concerns, adjusting the offer incrementally to get closer to their comfort zone.
You're not just guessing anymore.
Not at all. You're responding directly to their articulated needs and priorities, so any adjustments you make are way more targeted and impactful. You're solving their problem, not just throwing numbers blindly.
That's like maybe a project manager getting pushback on a timeline. Instead of how long do you need, they ask, are we off by a week, a month? Which specific tasks are the bottleneck?
Exactly. It clarifies the issue, allowing for targeted tweaks instead of just, adding 6 months to the deadline.
It makes total sense. You're basically inviting them to co-create this solution with you.
That's a great way to put it.
But here's a common challenge. Many sellers will say things like, oh, I'm not in a hurry, or I'm a cash buyer.
Yeah.
Maybe implying they have all the leverage.
Yes, you hear that a lot. Posturing.
How do you kind of cut through that? How do you qualify their real motivation and readiness to actually do a deal?
This is a really critical filter in the process. The guide stresses that your job is to figure out their true motivation, their real readiness for a transaction. Because what people say, well, isn't it always what they mean or what they're truly prepared to do?
Right. They might just be testing the waters or maybe just kicking the can down the road.
Or just haven't really thought it through yet.
So how do you test that readiness without being too pushy or aggressive?
The specific question the guide recommends is surprisingly simple, but also incredibly powerful. It's something like this. Look, I'm not asking you to do anything right now, but hypothetically, if we could close on a deal in 30 days, would you actually be ready to proceed?
Oh, okay. It's hypothetical, no pressure.
Exactly. It acts as a critical filter. It doesn't ask them to commit right then and there. It just gauges their readiness for commitment, their actual state of preparedness.
And what are the red flags? The telltale signs if they're not really motivated, despite what they might say.
Well, the indicators of non-motivation become pretty clear. If they come back with, oh, well, the funds I need are tied up for 45 days, or, I really need to think about it, or maybe, my lawyer is out of town for the next few weeks.
Excuses, basically.
Often, yeah. They're reasons for delay, not expressions of readiness. It really highlights the value of time in these deals. It helps you avoid wasting effort on someone who's just a tire kicker.
Right. Lets you focus on the genuinely viable opportunities.
It's like asking a potential business partner, if we had the funding and the team ready to go tomorrow, would you be ready to launch? Their answer and any buts or maybes tells you everything about their actual commitment level.
That's a really effective way to gauge sincerity without putting someone on the defensive. It really just boils down to action versus words.
Precisely.
So if they're not truly motivated, the advice is to pivot back.
Right.
Go back to isolating their vision, addressing those deeper concerns, rather than trying to force a close.
Yes, you essentially circle back a step. No point pushing water uphill.
But if they are motivated, then you've isolated their needs. You've confirmed their readiness. Now it's time to solidify the deal. Rebuild the value of your offer. This is where that ASMD framework comes in. ADD, subtract, multiply, divide. It's all about justifying your offer and preventing that last-minute nickel and diming.
Right. Solidifying the value proposition.
Let's break this down, starting with ADD. Stacking tangible value. What concrete, tangible benefits do you bring to the table to make the offer really compelling?
Okay, so this is all about painting a super clear picture of the immediate practical advantages of working with your specific team or company. It goes way beyond just the purchase price.
Okay.
For an MHP owner, this means spelling out the specific actions your team handles things that completely remove their burden, like explicitly stating you'll handle all the legal fees, all the due diligence.
Taking things off their plate.
Exactly. Bringing in a professional management team on day one so the transition for tenants is seamless. Absorbing all the closing costs. You're not just giving them money. You're offering this comprehensive, totally problem-free solution where they basically just sign the papers and walk away.
So it's about making their life radically easier by taking on all that complexity. Where else do we see this kind of adding tangible value?
Oh, everywhere. Think about a software company selling a subscription. They don't just list features, right? They add value with things like 24/7 tech support, free onboarding sessions, automatic updates.
Make it easy to say yes.
Yeah, or if you're trying to get your team to adopt a new internal process, you'd add value by providing training, maybe ready-made templates, a dedicated support person. It's about making the decision as frictionless and obviously beneficial as possible.
Okay, that makes sense. Next up is subtract. What would they lose? This feels a bit more provocative.
It can be, yeah. It plays on psychology.
Instead of just highlighting the gains, you're asking the seller to think about what they might lose if they choose a different path, maybe a less professional or less prepared buyer.
How do you phrase that without sounding, confrontational or threatening?
It taps into that powerful psychological principle, loss aversion. People are often way more motivated to avoid a loss than they are to achieve an equivalent gain.
Right, fear of missing out or fear of things going wrong.
Exactly. So the questions aren't framed as accusations. They're framed as genuine things for the seller to consider. You might ask gently, if you decided to go with maybe a smaller, less experienced buyer, what are you potentially giving up? Are you willing to risk the deal collapsing at the 11th hour because maybe they can't get their financing approved?
Planting seeds of doubt about alternatives. Or, are you comfortable carrying the financing yourself if they can't close outright? What about the potential headaches of a messy handover, unhappy tenants, maybe even legal issues down the road? The goal is to get the seller to actually articulate, maybe even just to themselves, what they are unwilling to give up.
So they realize the hidden costs or risks of not choosing your more reliable professional offer.
Precisely. You're not telling them what they stand to lose, you're guiding them to realize it themselves. It solidifies the value of your offer by contrasting it with the potential downsides elsewhere.
That's quite clever. It's like explaining to someone why they should buy the higher quality appliance.
Yeah.
What will you lose if you get the cheap one? It might break in 6 months, costing you more in repairs and hassle.
Exactly. Or convincing a friend to take the direct flight. Are you really willing to risk a misconnection and hours stuck in an airport just to save $50? You make them weigh the true cost, not just the initial price.
Right, the total cost of ownership, or the total cost of the experience. Okay, moving on to multiply. Emphasize intangibles. So, beyond the concrete stuff you've added and the losses you've helped them avoid, what are those intangible benefits that get amplified or multiplied?
This really speaks to the deeper, more emotional drivers. This is especially crucial for that retirement seller we talked about, someone who's likely poured years, maybe decades of their life into this park.
Yeah, it's the legacy, perhaps.
Exactly. It's about emphasizing things like your company's solid reputation, maybe a proven track record of smooth, successful closings, a genuine commitment to actually improving the community they built, not just extracting value.
So it's about stewardship.
In a way, yes. You might say things like, our long-term commitment to improving the park means a stronger legacy for you. It means the residents you've known and cared for will continue to have a well-managed, thriving place to live. And then the big one. The peace of mind you'll have from this smooth, guaranteed transaction, well, that's truly invaluable.
Peace of mind.
Yeah.
Legacy. Community impact. Yeah, those things are often priceless, aren't they?
Absolutely. They can multiply the perceived value of an offer far beyond just the number on the page. It's about leaving things in good hands, knowing it's done right, and avoiding future worries or regrets.
How does this play out in other areas, this multiplying intangibles idea?
Well, think about donating to a charity. The tangible value might be a small tax write-off, maybe. But the intangible value, that's the feeling of contributing to a cause you believe in, the impact on lives, the emotional satisfaction. That's what really drives the decision.
Good example.
Or think about a premium brand, like, say, Apple or Mercedes. You're not just buying the product, you're buying the trust, the reputation, the design aesthetic, the user experience, maybe even the social status associated with it. Those intangibles multiply the value.
But can't be easily quantified in dollars, but they profoundly influence our choices. Okay, finally, we have divide, reduced to a relatable figure. How do you take what might seem like a big, complex deal and break down its value into something more? Well, understandable and personally relatable for the seller.
This is all about reframing the value proposition. You take that potentially large sum of money or the complexity of the deal, and you make it feel accessible. You make it directly relevant to the seller's actual life.
How so?
The guide explains it with something like this. Look, the sheer amount of time and mental energy you save from not having to manage this park anymore, that's priceless, right? When you divide out what you get back in terms of your own time and freedom, it's a fantastic return on your past investment, allowing you to truly enjoy your retirement.
Ah, so you're dividing the big benefit, the sale price, plus freedom by the input, which is their time and stress.
Essentially, yes. You're framing the value in terms of what they personally gain in their daily life. Instead of just focusing on one big lump sum, you break it down into the tangible daily benefit of newfound freedom, reduced stress, more time for family or hobbies.
It makes the abstract concrete.
Exactly. For someone thinking about retirement, trading maybe a slightly lower price for years of guaranteed hassle-free living can be incredibly compelling when framed that way.
How else could dividing work?
Well, maybe explaining the savings of an energy-efficient appliance by breaking it down into the monthly reduction on their utility bill.
Okay.
Or when talking about a big investment in a business, maybe you divide the projected return into market share points gained, or the increase in positive customer reviews per month, or even the boost in employee morale per team member. It just makes the large value feel more accessible and highlights a different kind of ROI that might resonate more deeply.
Especially for that seller looking for an easier exit, focusing on time and energy saved makes perfect sense.
It connects directly to their core motivation.
So we've really walked through this price and exit conditioning process. It's quite a strategic blend, isn't it? Part negotiation tactic, part deep psychological understanding. Especially powerful in these MHP sales, it seems. We saw how vital it is to get beyond the asking price, to understand the seller's true motivation, the art of strategic questions, that low anchor to set the stage.
And then rebuilding value systematically.
Right, using that ASMD framework. Eating the tangible benefits, subtracting the risks of alternatives, multiplying the crucial intangibles like peace of mind, and dividing the overall value into personally relatable terms like time saved.
Yeah, it's a comprehensive approach. And what this whole process really demonstrates, I think, is that truly successful negotiation, it's rarely just about crunching numbers or playing hardball.
It's more human than that.
Much more. It's profoundly about skillfully navigating human needs, understanding fears, tapping into aspirations. It's really a testament to how deeply understanding your counterpart, anticipating their concerns, strategically addressing their underlying motivations can shape the entire transaction.
Leading to outcomes that work better for everyone, not just financially.
Exactly. Satisfying more than just the bottom line.
So as you, listening, go about your day, maybe think about how these principles, this conditioning, this value framing, how they might show up elsewhere.
Because they definitely do.
Yeah, the emphasis on making things easy, providing a clear path forward. Those strategic questions that uncover what someone really wants or needs. The whole reframing of value adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. It's not just for multi-million-dollar MHP deals, is it?
Not at all.
Where else might you see these techniques playing out in your own life? Maybe in a job negotiation, emphasizing the skills you add, subtly noting the challenges of hiring someone less qualified, highlighting the long-term value you bring, breaking down your salary expectation relative to the results you deliver.
Or even just evaluating a personal decision. Weighing the long-term peace of mind, multiplying against an immediate cost or hassle, or breaking down a big personal goal into smaller, motivating steps dividing.
How might understanding these techniques empower you to make more informed choices, perhaps? Or maybe just present your own ideas, your own value more effectively in the future, whether that's in your career, your finances, or honestly, even just in your everyday conversations.